Chapter 17. Heather, POV. It was good to be here on the red carpet side of things. I was surprised when we arrived. I've never really had an entrance by the red carpet or by limo before. I tried hard to stay in the background as much as possible whenever Dad wanted me to attend one of these types of events. Watching, observing, but just not on those red carpets. But the interviewers and the waiters and the waitresses, the greeters, the whole staff side of things. So I was a little nervous being on Mason's arm and others recognizing me. But for some reason, all my fears dropped away and disappeared, and my work face was on again. When I reached Roger, the interviewer, for the night, I was surprised by his behavior, and I was glad to call Dad and give him what he needed to hear, and in front of the cameras, so everyone could see he was removed. Rather publicly, but I doubt he would get another job as an interviewer. He was not from our pack, so getting rid of him was no problem for our pack, and Dad apparently had been wanting to get rid of him for a while. Why was he not dismissed a long time ago? I have no idea. All I know is that that man was a terrible interviewer and was very conceited. Our waitress was called Jenny, and she had all of her tits out and was being very slutty, and I was embarrassed for her. She was a lovely girl, but to me, she lost her direction. She lost her boyfriend and could not cope when he found his mate. But instead of being happy for him, she turned to the wrong way of life and turned herself into an easy catch for any man willing to take her into bed. And it was obvious she had lost all her dignity. I was able to remove her from the public eye. Our beta will make sure she is given more restraining and a chance to prove herself. But she was never going to be here in the theater again. We can't have a woman like that here. Our beta is trying to raise the class of the theater to attract more red carpet events, and that will not happen with people like Jenny in your face. Mason looked shocked ever since I had climbed out of the limo. From my comment in his ear, the sacking of Roger, and lastly Jenny, he did not seem to have his usual poker face that most get to see when he's trying to hide his true feelings. And I wondered why. So, when looking at things from a different perspective, it was a pleasant surprise. Dad and our beta would be very pleased. It was amazing to see things from this side. Most of it ran smoothly, staff moving about, almost unseen by the patrons, and now I could see how some of our staff really behaved, not realizing I was watching them. I noticed some areas I would need to talk to our beta about later, like the lighting in the entrance, just little things, but I think they would improve the reception area, the place everyone sees first when they arrive. And I am now appreciating having been brought here as a guest, as I would never have a chance like this before. Most of the staff would have recognized me and my family at a glance, but dressed as I am, and being on Mason's arm, I would be the last person that they would expect on his arm. So this whole outing with Mason was to my advantage. Many people did not know it was me, or who I was at first. That was a great advantage, and I had an opportunity to see how they really were, and saw some that really shocked me at their bad behavior, and some that I appreciated had gone to extra lengths to make the patrons feel welcome. And when they recognized me, the shock that was written on their faces, the paling when they had been caught acting inappropriately, or glowed when they were someone who had been good on their job, I was enjoying it. Inside, I was smiling at them getting caught. The whole event was flawless, and I stood and clapped along with everyone else. Mason did not rush me out the door. He allowed me to stand there and people watch, seeing how quickly people left the event, and how there was no real clogging up. All in all, the room emptied smoothly. I had some good reports to give to our beta, he would be pleased. Mason came to me and stood beside me, looking down at the cleanup staff below, who were walking in between the rows collecting rubbish and anything that may have been left behind. "They're good, efficient. Your beta should be proud at how well the show went," Mason said softly as he watched the man do something on the stage, removing cords that had been stuck down in places and moving the speaker out the way for the whole stage floor to be polished smoothly again. "Yeah, the show was good. I have some small issues for him to consider changing. Overall, I have a good review for him. Thank you for this opportunity of seeing it from this side. Most people know who I am, and if I am around, they'll behave. However, having been attached to your arm dressed like this, many people did not realize who I was, and I got to see the real side of things," I said as honestly as I could, so he could see I meant every word of thanks. "We have a dinner reservation next, if you're ready to leave," he asked, being very considerate, seeing that I was doing more than just watch a show, and he just managed to go up a notch on my trial. He wasn't completely on the bottom any longer. "Certainly." I turned to face him and looped my arm through his. The smile on his face, when I did, was priceless. It was like I had given him the last lolly from the jar, and my wolf growled softly in appreciation. Once outside the theater, Mason's guards surrounded us. As we made our way to the limo, Jerry hopped out and was waiting by the open door. His smile was bright, and you couldn't help but smile back. I climbed into the limo and slid so my back was to the driver, and Mason followed me in. He sat opposite me, watching as I adjusted my dress and made myself comfortable. I was fiddling, really, a little nervous at having shown this side of me that others rarely get to see, and I wondered if he would try to take advantage of my moment of weakness. My wolf was telling me that she was talking to his wolf, and they both could not wait for us to get together so they could meet and have a run together and have their own bonding day. Jerry closed the door softly and moved to the front, lowering the divider that separated us from him, and waited for Mason to speak. "Take us to the restaurant, please, Jerry. We have reservations for 7. Having got his instructions, Jerry raised the divider blocking him from our conversation and drove off with ease as he joined the flow of traffic. And the next part of our date was underway.